All right, so I had a question from a fellow subscriber. Want to know what's the deal, bro? You had everything that any kind of automotive technician or mechanic would have ever wanted. Like, you had a mastery set. You could have done anything and everything with it. Why did you ever give those away or sell them or what have you? And why did you do it? How did you do it, etc.? So we're going to kind of dive into this a little bit. So it's hard for some people to understand. I'm going to try to break it down into the most plain Jane way that I possibly can. When I stepped out of the automotive industry, when I left Ron's Automotive and I decided that I'm going to take a sabbatical, think about my life as a whole, what it is that I really want to do with myself. Do I want to keep wrenching? Let's face it, look, there's a lot of things that go into wrenching that people don't talk about. Being inside of stank butt cars where they just smell ungodly. You got to have your head down by where they put their bare feet. And there's like sour baby bottle milk everywhere. There's food everywhere. Some people smoke things they shouldn't be smoking things in their cars. You find illegal paraphernalia and other things like that you just kind of, you're not allowed to divulge. You have to pretend that it's not. You get the danger of accidentally stabbing yourself with some of this stuff. Actually, one guy did, and he had to go get an HIV test right afterwards because somebody put something that they shouldn't have in the compartment where the spare key holder should have been, and he reached down and got jabbed. So there's a lot of things that kind of go hand in hand with this stuff. But you're doing it all for a certain amount of wage. You have to provide a lot of money to be in the industry as a line tech or even as a diagnostician. Just look, something other than a lube tech. Lube techs start off at minimum wage. Currently in 2024, minimum wage is 16 bucks an hour. That means most dealership techs, line techs, diagnostic techs, anybody that's not a lube tech is at about 32 to 34. Some shops I've heard have paid 36 an hour plus a flag rate, meaning we'll give you an extra couple dollar bonus if you can beat up past 80% of your physical being here, etc., etc. And you play this little game back and forth, try to see if you can maximize your flag hours to maximize your paycheck, and it's all a little bit of give and take. So some things you're going to be fast at, other things you're not. You got warranty work that has to be considered, all of which you're providing all these tools. Now with these tools, when it comes down to it, yes, in the beginning you can start off with the easy peasy, lemon squeezy. They're providing everything for you. After that, you have to provide your own. You can supply yourself with your own cheaper brand, but then after a while, you notice that certain things are not holding up with the cheap of the cheap. And it's not just the fastener discussion, okay? Because here's the deal. People say, I've noticed a lot of slop with the cheaper sockets than I have the high-end ones, so I should probably just get high-end ones, right? Because the cheaper ones, they don't have the right tolerances. Is it that? Or is it that the fastener doesn't have the right tolerances? I've had, at one time, Snap-on and Matco everything sockets at one point, and I've had them to where they wouldn't fit, and I had to change over to SAE. Because that leads to another discussion topic. Should you still buy SAE? Yeah, because the tolerance is sometimes tighter than the metric. And sometimes the fastener, the way that the corporation built it, isn't within a true tolerance of a metric, and an SAE fits tighter, which means that you're not going to round it out. Jesus, this conversation could go on and on and on, right? But look, at the end of the day, think about how much you're investing. You're investing like at least most of you, which have nothing, or a bare minimum, are trying to invest in this career. You're spending at least half your paycheck to stack up enough tools to be self-sufficient. And if you don't have it, you're eager to go get it, so that way you do have it. And if it's a special tool that the dealership is supposed to offer, or that maybe an independent shop says they're supposed to offer and they don't have it, if you have it, you're the hero, right? So you get on the tool truck, you buy it, or you order it, so that way for the next time you already have it, and now you're here. and you spend a lifetime doing this, it's a whole over a decade doing it. And even when you think you got to a point where you don't have to do it anymore because you've got everything, the manufacturer changes the style of the fastener, or they change the diameter and it makes you rethink things, or they start throwing in security gateway modules that are protected to where now you have to buy this new thing. Snap-on reserves the right to not update scan tools that are 10 years old. So that Snap-on scan tool that you had paid off that was worth its weight in gold is no longer worth its weight in gold. Now you have to trade it in and get the next one, which is what happened to me. And it goes on and on and on. It's this ongoing cycle, and it's so financially depriving because at the end of the day, now you're still making minimum wage, essentially, because you're spending the other half of your paycheck on tools to do the job that you thought you were making 2 times the amount for. It's frustrating. It's so extremely frustrating. They want anyone, and when I say they, I mean the independent shop owners, the tire shop owners, the dealership managers, and everyone wants the most out of you for the least amount that they have to pay. And that's why right now, there's not a lot of people that want to do this for a living. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to the tool discussion topic. Why? And what did I get out of it? Okay, look, let's be honest. If I went and bought and filled this entire toolbox full of Harbor Freight tools, and I ran into a pinch, and I was no longer working in the mechanic industry, and I wanted to do something different, zero people interested in my Icon tools, Harbor Freight tools, 0 people interested. That means no money. I don't care how many shops you go to, how many pawn shops you go to, 0 interest. Now with Matco, Mac, Cornwell, Snap-on, if I have those tools from the tool truck, they will give you at least 80% credit. From the pawn shop, they will give you 10% of their overall worth. In society, if you were to go from shop to shop, you will get anywhere between 40 and 60% for that tool. So, end state goes, if I have higher end tools that are already paid off and I have bills that are due, I can sell off all my name brand stuff for about 40 to 60% cost and have enough money to float me for another week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. The problem that I ran into is that I haven't worked as a wrench since the middle of November. Now we're in the middle of June. I've gone almost 6 months without work, and you can see how difficult it would have been having literally no income coming in. Now I digress. I do have my military retirement that does come in. However, it is just enough to pay for the rent and the utilities. I say again, just enough for the rent and utilities. That's not gas. That's not vices like cigarettes or beer. That's not like joining gym clubs or doing martial arts. That's not buying food. Nope, it's just rent and utilities. My wife covers the food cost, and there have been a lot of days where I've just gone without vices and other things that I wanted to do. When I sold certain things, I was able to buy myself and my family things that we needed. Clothes, diapers, paid for utilities, maybe some unexpected expenses. I worked for the security group when they had 1 to 3 weeks run of security detail, and I was able to work a lot of hours and pay for a transmission that I needed for my car. There were other times I just sold tools to make it from A to B to make it to these appointments for trying to get into law enforcement. Now, so far with law enforcement, I did not meet the qualifications through the oral board at the Palm Springs Police Department. I did not meet the standards for the background check for LAPD, and I am now just waiting for the background check for the Marine Corps base. If it doesn't work out, my only thing left that I'm capable of doing for a living is being a wrench. Is that what I wanted to do? Is that the direction that I wanted to go? No. But what are my educational background? What's my experience? Well, you're going to make minimum wage as a cook. And they want complete availability, which I cannot always give. So that's kind of out. And that's minimum wage. Okay, minimum wage, 16 bucks an hour. I'm not sure if coming back into the industry full time is for me, but I know it's the only thing that I'm capable of because I have an associate in applied science and automotive technology. I have 17 years of being in the military as an infantry soldier and sergeant, so I had time as a leader, where I believe that would be beneficial to me to be able to get in with law enforcement. However, my financials are not in the greatest position they possibly could be in. So all that being said, I've run into a very tight situation where I've had to get rid of most of the things that I've had. I still have my basic 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch socket set from Gear Wrench, some pry bars, screwdrivers, random things like that. But I'm not stacked to the tilt. This box is virtually empty. I wouldn't even tell a dealership that I have a box at this point. I would just be like, yep, I'm starting from scratch. I don't even have a box to put my stuff in. In fact, as of lately, over at the tire shop, I have a cup of soup box. Give me 1 second and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, minus the soup, this box right here is what holds a certain amount of tools that I believe that I need over at the Lube Tire Shop for steering, suspension, brakes, alignments, AC work, tires. And I have a handful of tools in that cup of soup cardboard box inside of a roll cart they let me borrow. And I utilize everything at my disposal that they have ratchet, socket, wrench wise, okay? I am basically starting from scratch. There are tools that would make my life easier, make my job faster, and there are certain jobs that I could get done quicker if I had these essential tools. However, quickness is not part of the game when it comes to the Lube Tire Shop. Yes, you need to be quick as far as doing tires and brakes and shocks and struts. However, they know that if you're coming into this and you don't have anything and whatever they had to provide and you have to hunt through 4 different toolboxes to get there, they get that. So they kind of let it slide a little bit. But I could be so much more faster and more proficient if I had my own cart and I had my tools laid out the way that I wanted them and I knew where everything was. Am I going to have to get there one day? Yes. If I stay with this shop extensively for an extended period of time, absolutely. Do I know if I'm going to be at this shop for an extended period of time? No, I do not know. I'm still waiting to hear back, like I said, from the Marine Corps Police Department. And if it's a no-go, I've got to do some soul searching and figure out, am I staying here at Big O? Is the paycheck worth what it is that I need to be able to accommodate my family financially? Or do I really start needing to reconsider where I'm at in life and get back into full-time wrenching at a dealership or an independent shop? A lot of you have been asking me about Ron's Automotive. What happened with that? Why aren't you there? Look, a different turn of events, okay? I had expectations. They had expectations. I saw a lot of the more easier work going towards some of the other individuals that have been there longer than I was, and not as a whole, just as of recently. And of course, they had bills that they had to pay. I had to like regrow and rebuild my status, and I wasn't about that life. I also wanted to try to make some better money, and sometimes jobs hit me sideways that I couldn't get done in a timely manner, and it made my paycheck weak. And I felt at that point in time, well, I could be doing far less work at a tire shop and get paid about the same, so it makes no sense for me to be here. And so I decided to like call it quits, and I started rethinking what it is that I wanted to do. I thought law enforcement would be a good approach, so I decided to go that route. I tried to find a part-time, full-time job in culinary at minimum wage, but you'd be surprised at how many places do not want a full-time position with designated hours. They want you to be completely available, and I'm not. I like to coach youth sports. I like to do our martial art things in the evening. I don't want to be completely available. I want to be available during the day or only available at night. Like, let's pick one. Let's figure it out. So that's the reason why the transition. Okay, I got rid of a lot of stuff to pay my bills, to get married, to take care of debts. I paid off Matco. I paid off Snap-on. I did a lot of things with selling a lot of the tools that were in this box, but I have very little to show for it. And but you know what? I'm in good standing with the tool companies. Snap-on still has a $6,500 credit limit for me if I wanted to use it. I'm not using it, but it's there if I want it. So I don't know. We'll just see how things go in time. As of right now, I've made no decisions about anything. I'm just waiting to see what happens. And that's all I can do. So that's all I got for this video. Thanks always for watching. I hope this answered some questions. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers and deuces.